Hi, I'm Rosalind, and this episode of Our Opinion is brought to you by Miracles Beauty Salon, where I am the proprietor and stylist. Miracles Beauty Salon specializes in all phases of hair. Appointments preferred, but walk-ins are more than welcome. April 8th from 3 to 6 o'clock p.m. is the grand opening of my new location. Please feel free to come out and meet and greet the staff at Miracles. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the segment. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks and have a great day.
Welcome to another episode of Our Opinion. My name is Tamika.
I'm Kim.
I'm Rosalind.
And I'm Nicole.
And today we're going to talk about basically how the court system favors the mother more so than the father when it comes down to a lot of things. When it comes down to child support, when it comes down to who the child should live with. Just speaking from the heart, I know in different experiences, in a lot of cases, the mothers, we have a lot of rights. It appears that we have a lot of rights, a lot more rights than fathers do today. I mean, that's how I feel. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Well, no, I definitely feel the same way. I think that, a man going to court, he has to, go through as more than the mother, just because of the fact that he's a man. And a lot of times the court may feel like the mother is more nurturing to the child, especially when it's like a small child.
Correct.
Or even the father is working, so he's a breadwinner. He's not home. He has to make money to support the household, so it's easier and more suitable maybe for the mother to take care of the children.
But on the flip side of that, you have mothers too that work, and some fathers that stay at home dads, and if it was a situation in as far as the court system is concerned and the two split up, if the mother wasn't working and the father was working, the mother would get child support for that child and have the child. But if the mother was working and the father wasn't working and the father was more suitable to keep the child, I don't think the court system on a higher percentage will let that father have the child and let the mother pay child support. Why is that?
And not on a higher percentage, but it does happen. There are fathers who do get paid
child support
for taking care of the
children.
child. But again, I agree with the percentage is not high. And that could be because the fathers do not go to court and properly, take the necessary steps, to have that in place.
Yeah.
What do you
They
think, Nikki?
absolutely child support. The fathers do. I just wanted to say absolutely get child support, but it's a simple one when they do the child support.
Yeah.
It's like, they're looked at a certain kind of way because the woman is paying child support. Okay, if he's paying the child support to the woman, then that's, what he's expected to do. So that's just the way that it's set up in our society.
Right, and it really shouldn't be that way because, just thinking, in recent years, we noticed that a lot more men are trying to get, support of their children. I did a little research and in that research I found that between 1960 and 2011, it has increased, drastically in regards to fathers who want to have custody of their children. And in most cases, the only fathers that right now seem to really be getting their kids and having children that live inside their home are single dads that are white males. There are not as many black men that have custody of their children. Now, whatever the situation is that
Are there contributing factors?
Yeah, there has to be contributing factors into that. And, you know, I think that maybe, I don't know if it is attributed to, you know, poverty, if it's, you know, education, if it's just the ability to take care of the children. But I do believe that, you know, our men are not actively, you know, looking to get their children and the custody of their children, and why that is, I'm not sure. Statistics wise, yes.
Statistic wise. So the most recent event that we know that has taken place in Euclid, Ohio, was really touching. You know, really touching to me.
Sad.
It's a lot that's going on, or a lot that hasn't been finalized. So a lot of this is going to be allegedly, you know, because we don't just know. But what we do know that has been out and on the news, that this was a father who really wanted his child, and he took the necessary steps to try and get his child. But again, allegedly, it appeared as if the system failed him. Not only was it the father that was letting, you know, the court system know of the alleged abuse, and clearly it was abuse, you know, because we know what the outcome has been.
Yeah.
But the daycare system, you know, also expressed their concerns for the child, you know, which that's good. You know what I'm saying? We send our kids to daycare. You know, you want to know that you're sending your child somewhere safe. So that's like, to me, kudos to the daycare for also putting that information out. But then how did the system help him? This was a father, a single father, who wanted to get his child and took, quote unquote, the necessary steps.
Well,
What do you guys think about
I
that?
just feel in this particular case, you know, the Child Protective Services just completely failed her. I have friends personally that they have run out my friend's home for things just simply as, you know, my friends yelling too loudly or threatening their kids. But in something like this, with 14 different complaints of clear abuse, and the ball just got dropped, in my opinion, they just simply failed her. And it's just simply heartbreaking. And they laid $1 short, and now he's without a child, and this little girl is dead. It's just simply horrible. Period. It's just horrible.
I agree.
Yeah, me too, in regards to that. So then, I mean, with all of that being said, I mean, what actions are there out there that can take place? And I mean, you know, they always say it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
And, you know, they say how, you know, everybody has got to be involved. Everybody has got to be hands-on. And
Yeah.
it's sad to say, but even with what we've seen happen here, you know, she's not the first case.
No,
this is, I
exactly.
mean, just not too long before her, you know, they had the little boy that happened to, not too long ago. And so, I mean, what can we do, and how do we help these men to really be able to do the necessary things? I talked to a couple of guys at work who, you know, who are single dads, don't necessarily have their children, but, you know, one of them, he was telling me, you know, what do I say? You know, how do I talk to my child? How do I explain to my child the situation that me and his mother are going through without necessarily demeaning his mother, or not necessarily, giving him too much information, but enough information to where he would be, you know, comfortable with talking to me, and I can be comfortable with talking to him. He was saying, you know, how, in certain cases, he felt like, he in his heart, he knew that the mother was wrong. He knew she was wrong, but he really couldn't articulate that to his son. And then a lot of times he would say, at one point he noticed that the son would say, "Dad, how come you don't speak to mom when we go together, when we see each other and you pick me up? How come you don't speak to her?" And he said at first he was taken aback because he didn't know how to do it. But then after he left and got home and he thought about it, he said, I'm going to make a point to speak to this woman no matter how I feel about her.
And good
I'm
for
going to
him.
make a point.
And that's how it should be. As it should be. Really, like, we should not put the children
There you go.
into our mix.
That's right.
Like, if you divorced or you're separated or, even just have children and you've never been married or never lived together, you should think about the child.
At all times.
At all times. That child did not ask to be here. We need to learn how to co-parent. We need to learn how to communicate more.
Yes.
And, what we argue, how we argue behind closed doors or whatever, I feel as long as you don't do it in front of the child, that child should always see love.
At all times.
At all times.
All the time.
At all times.
Yes. Even when it ain't there no more.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, because, we are adults and
situations
change, but, I have a guy that I know who has, he's a single dad and he's no longer with the mother. And what he expressed to me is, and he really loves his child. This is the only child, he the only one he has. But whenever they get into an argument or he doesn't do something that she wants him to do, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be related to the child. So this is just the mentality, it could be anything, something that she wanted, he didn't do it. She always uses the child as a pawn. You know what I'm saying? So it's times where he has gone like 3 months without seeing his son. And this is a father that actually cares. And not that, we want to make this about, but it is. It's about everything, because you have some fathers who don't care. And,
That's true.
And they're not in their child's life, don't care to be in their child's life, and don't do nothing for their children. We know this is true. And this is not just a black thing, it's black, white, whatever.
Yeah.
But then you have some fathers that really do want to be there. And then they may come across that mother that be playing all these games. And then, it affects the child and it hurts the father, because you're really trying to hurt the father, but really you're hurting your child. Because this is a father who wants to be involved. But you get upset, 3 months go by, he don't see his father.
But we stereotype a lot of things. So I think that's what the system do. They see how, quote unquote, most men or most black men do this or don't do that. And so you have the ones that want to do. And so, they being stereotyped
And lumped
by
up.
the ones and lumped up by the ones that's not doing. And I think that's unfair. But
So unfair.
I'm happy to say that, I had a situation where, when my children were younger, they're all grown now, but when they were younger and me and their dad split up, I was one of those mothers who was mad or whatever sometimes, and so I didn't want him to see them or whatever. And he's deceased now though, but he did everything in his power, and he didn't care what I said. He would meet Ashley up at her job. He would meet Greg up at the skateboard park. He didn't care nothing about what I said. He was going to see his kids anyway, and because of that, I laughed about it, and I was like, let me stop acting silly. We can get in our feelings sometimes and do stupid stuff, but when it comes to beating a child and doing something harmful to a child, and the child is letting the child have scars on them and saying I failed, or this person, my mom hit me but she told me to say this or that, you have to take that. See, you can't look over that.
No.
You look over some things, but something like that where the evidence is there, you can't look over that.
No, you can't.
That can't be looked over at all. I just think the system really failed that child and that dad.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. And it's also just to show that there are fathers. You know, you're not trying to discredit nobody. I just want, you know, everybody to know that. Like, nobody's being discredited. You know what I'm saying? We just want to, like, just let everybody be aware that there are good fathers, you know, and that the system, you know, don't always see the father. They just always see the mothers. But all mothers aren't good mothers. That's just real talk. All mothers are not good mothers, and just because you want to have a baby don't necessarily mean
You're
gonna,
supposed to.
or correct, or you want to be a mother to that child. No different from a father that go around and, you know, help make these babies, but they don't want to really be a father to the child. It's just real.
Well, some things that I've looked up where I researched as far as the fathers are concerned, they're saying that, you know, you have to pay child support, and your child support have to be paid on time. If you don't pay child support, get a modification. You have to have, like, if you want custody of your child, you have to talk to somebody and go through the court system. You also have to have a place for that child to live.
Yeah.
You know,
and that probably play a big part in it. 'Cause
exactly.
If
So
you don't have a place to live, where you gonna live with the child?
Exactly. So it is a lot of steps that you do have to take, but you have to be serious about it. You know, you just can't. A lot of times people talk about it, but they don't really
Be about it.
You know,
Yeah.
be about it. You have to be serious about it. You have to put 100% into trying to get that child out of that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And child support is like
Yeah,
that's a whole nother topic. I know Nick was talking about something like that. Like if what did you say, Nick? Like if the father pays child support or something like that, like should he do anything else? Like should he be responsible for doing?
I accept both right with that the father will pay child support, but he doesn't want to do absolutely anything extra, whether he pays $200 or $1,000 a month in child support. So, I kind of have mixed feelings.
I do
you know what
too.
I mean, about that. I guess my thing is I don't really feel it doesn't really depend on the amount to me. It just depends on what is the extra that you are asking the father, you know, to do. I know a couple people that it could be something as simple as picking the child up. I mean, they don't want to do anything at all. And I think that that's just a cop-out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if it's you getting $1,000 a month and you call in every month talking about the kid needs some extra shoes and, you know, pay for basketball practice and stuff like that, then, or basketball lessons, then that may be, okay, well, what are you doing with the money? But if it's something like, well, I need, you know, extra help as far as picking them up, or I know even a particular person that don't even want to spend time because they feel like child support is all they want to do. So, you know.
And I
the
think
court
that's
can't
sad
force you. They
because.
can force you to pay money, but they can't force you to actually spend time.
But
And they don't even
That's
they don't even always force you to pay money, because there's plenty of people that they're down on paper to pay child support and don't. It is a lot of people where there's that child support, so that don't even matter either.
Right, but how about the child don't even know or care about child support? The child don't even know that. What the child sees in their parents is the time spent, the
Exactly.
memories.
That's it.
You know, what you do for me. You know, am
And
I
what you do
seeing
with
you?
me.
How do you talk to me? How are you spending time with me? They don't know where, you know, support is coming from. So for those fathers who is just doing that, I think that's pretty sad, you know.
Yeah.
I agree.
And honestly, I'm gonna
They
say
don't know
too.
young, but when they grow up and start wanting Jordans and wanting to shop in certain stores, they will say, "You can get my child support this month." I've seen it. I've seen kids do it. So they can start caring at a certain age.
And that's
When
true
they
too.
want
Yeah,
money.
I
At a
agree.
certain age,
Yeah,
they
Karen.
do. They
I
do.
agree.
But honestly, though, y'all, when you think about it, when you talk about child support, whether, like you said, it's $30 or $500, I don't care what the situation is. If we lived in the house together, you would be doing more.
Yes.
If we live,
Oh, you know, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
you would be doing more. So it's your responsibility as a man
Yeah, that's right.
just to be
It's
doing it.
50-50. You know,
Yeah.
it's
You open up a whole can of worms then. Men gonna always do more, or a lot of men, I'm not gonna say most, all of them, but most men gonna always do more when they still have access to you.
Yeah.
and that's
The ones
crazy.
that still have access to you, they're gonna put limitations on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's true.
Exactly.
That's true. I agree. You know, and
So
it's
that's a
not all
whole,
about
that's a
money.
whole nother, you know, we can go on and have a whole nother.
Show.
So about that, yeah, you right about that.
Yes.
But just to talk lightly on it, I think we brushed on it pretty good. At the end of the day, it's about the child. You know, it's definitely about the child and in the best interest of the child.
Right. Well, I hope and pray that, you know, that the guy get his rights, you know, for as far as what's going on. I know a civil suit is not, you know,
It's not going, whatever it is, it's not going to be sufficient
it's
enough.
not.
It's not
But
going to
at
bring
the
his
end of
child
the day,
back. But
we need to do something. Somebody
Yeah.
needs to do something because the court system really, really failed him and that child. It was too many signs there, too many red flags.
Yes.
It was evidence there. It was too many people that he didn't even know that was also saying something, and he didn't even know they were saying something. And I'm not understanding. That's why we're having this segment on how did this even happen.
Exactly. And I wish we could get together just as, you know, men and women, husband and wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your relationship status is, that we could come to a mutual understanding when there are children involved. I know that depending on the reason why the relationship didn't work out could determine, you know, our ability to be able to communicate with one another. But I wish that we could just really work it out amongst ourselves. And because I know personally, I mean, I don't have children, but if me and my significant other could work out where, you know, this is your responsibility, this is your child, and this is my responsibility, this is my child, then,
In a perfect
you know,
world.
in a perfect,
in a perfect world,
Perfect
you
world.
know, I don't even need to get child support from you. Well, I wouldn't even involve the court system
Yes.
if
You did what you were supposed to do.
if everybody just did what they were supposed to do.
But
Right.
that's only in a perfect world.
And that's
Right.
Most women wouldn't. Most women don't start it out that way. I know very few people that run to child support without giving the man the chance first. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But, you know.
And I can personally say I'm one of them. One of them, divorced, you know, and have a child, and definitely did not care to even go that route. Did not care to do it. It's not, and it just shouldn't be necessary. It just shouldn't be necessary to do. Two people should be able to, just like Kim said, communicate, just like you've said. You know, it's your responsibility and my responsibility, and we both care for the best interest of this child. Because this is the child we made.
Exactly.
You know, so, but, you know, other factors come into play and whatever, and then, you know, you just have to do what you have to do. Again, what's in the best interest of the child. And that's the
Because
why
as
I
you can
always
see,
tell-
even child support, child protective services, all of that. In the end, sometimes that's not even the way to go.
it's
Well,
not.
some of them do, you know, they do their jobs, and then some of them just getting a paycheck.
That's true.
That's true. You
hmm
know,
Yeah, it just depends on the person and who you really dealing with. So, but I mean, I just think that this was something that we definitely needed to, you know, touch bases on. I think this was definitely something that we needed to talk about. I know that, you know, this forum is probably not traditional in
Yeah.
regards to something like that, but I mean, just to show respect and for everybody out there, I mean, we care. We
Yes.
all care.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, if everybody put in just a little bit more effort to, you know, help each other, then maybe some of these type of situations can be avoided.
Yes.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to say I saw an interview with, I believe, the daycare teacher, and one thing she stated is if something like this ever happened again, or one of her regrets was whether she would have suffered some consequences or not, she would have just stepped in herself and took that child home or protected that child, or not even handed that child over, you know, to her mother, because she absolutely knew, you know, what was going on.
Yeah.
And how you said it takes a village, it absolutely does. When we were coming up, especially when I was coming up, you seen things like this less because you know, our aunts and grandparents and stuff like that, they all looked out for one another. You know what I mean?
That's
It just happened less often. So the one thing that I can say, and I absolutely hate this tragedy, but if anything does come out of this that is positive, is that from now on, when people see anything even closely remote to this, it's eyes are going to be raised.
Yes.
And if a phone call is made and nothing is done, immediately, oh, that child is going to be protected. You
Yes.
best believe.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
you know, people aren't going to go for it.
No.
And this could have been our child, or not necessarily our child, but
Yes.
a cousin, a niece, a nephew. You know, this hit home for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
My heart goes out, you know, to the family, and I just hope justice is served.
Me too.
Exactly.
Oh, that
Yes,
was
yes,
good.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I agree.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
Well, everybody, this was another episode of Our Opinion. I thank you guys so much again for tuning in. I thank you so much for the support y'all gave last week and the information that you gave back. The feedback was phenomenal. I just hope that we can continue to do this. And you see, we got Nicole back. She just is live, and we just gonna keep trying to do this all the time. Thank you again so much, everybody. Peace out. We love you. Keep an eye out for all our babies out here.
That's right.
And we just gonna continue to grow and be prosperous. God bless you. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye.
This episode of Our Opinion was filmed at Dream Creative Complex. For all of your video production needs, please contact us at 440-789-3676.